Hello, welcome back. So I don't have a ton of time to make a video today. I'm kind of just filming real quick before I go to work. But I have been watching Kate Kavanaugh's channel. She's an awesome author tuber. And I saw her do a video where she reacted to her old Authortube Newbie tag. And I didn't even know that was a thing. So I figured I would give that a shot myself. I want this channel to be partially an Authortube channel. I kind of mentioned in the first video how I wanted it to be dedicated to a couple of my different interests. But writing's a big part of my life, and I didn't realize there was such a big community of people on YouTube, doing videos about writing and talking about writing. So I thought it would be fun to answer some of those questions. Okay, so the original video was made by Jenna the Dark One, so shout out to her. And I'm going to actually go with the questions that were in Kate's video. Question 1, how did you find out about Authortube? I guess I already answered that. I was watching her video and she mentioned Authortube, and that's how I found out about it. What genres do you write in? I like to write YA mostly, so that's mostly what I read. Even though I'm a librarian by day and I'm an adult librarian, I still like to read YA mostly. As far as the type of YA I write, I like to do any sort of YA mixed with speculative fiction. I like fantasy, I like sci-fi, and I tend to be more on the soft end. So soft fantasy, soft sci-fi. I don't really put a lot of effort into crafting magic systems and really focusing on the hard science. But I do enjoy books that do that. It's just not personally what I like to write. All right, question 2. What's question 2? Question 3. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? Oh, I already answered part of that. YA. I should have pre-read these questions before I just started answering them. But YA is category, I guess. Writing tense and point of view, past tense, usually first person, but the current book I'm writing right now is in third person. I actually did try to write a book that was present tense, second person, and it really messed me up for a while, but it's an interesting writing experiment. Are you a plotter, a pantser, or a planter? I like the word planter. Actually, I would say I'm a planter, if that's a cross between a plotter and a pantser. I tend to like to outline. I start off with a very rough outline, and then I will go through and work on a very rough first draft, kind of like a zero draft where I just get the ideas onto the paper and I kind of connect those dots, because my outline will usually say like, oh, here's some plot events that happen, but the actual rough draft will get the characters from point A to point B. So I tend to do the rough outline, then the extremely rough draft, and then after I do that rough draft and I see all the ways the story fell apart, then I go in and I do an actual outline that's a lot tighter and has more detail and actually connects the scenes together in ways that make sense. So yeah, I would say I do both. I like a little bit of discovery writing, but I think having an outline is super helpful. Question 4. That was question 4. Question 5. Are you... I know how to count. Question 5. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? I guess, yeah, I'm yet to be published traditionally. And not really self-published. I've published fan fiction on Wattpad and fanfiction.net, if that counts. But yeah, as far as like publishing a full book that's original work, then no, I'm not published. The publishing company, literary agent, and or printing company are you represented by or use? I do not have one. So if you are not yet published, what is your dream publishing house or literary agent? I actually don't know. I've thought about this quite a bit. As a librarian, we tend to know a lot of the publishers and work with them. I tend to see them at conferences and stuff a lot. I mean, I like all the publishers. I really can't say. I feel like it'd be favoritism if I said I liked one over the other. They all put out quality work. and I think I would enjoy working with any one of them. As for literary agents, I haven't done a lot of research on literary agents yet. I want to be much further along in the current draft I have before I even start getting there. What Authortube related videos can we expect to find on your channel? I'd like to do a whole bunch of different things. Like I said, this is kind of a channel dedicated to a lot of my different interests, but a lot of my interests are related to stories, so I feel like even the things that aren't specifically writing related are still going to be related to stories and characters and the process of creating them and, you know, reacting to them maybe in the case of like a Let's Play. As far as the actual writing content, I'd like to do some like writing process type videos, you know, where I may show maybe like a day in the life writing. I would love to do NaNoWriMo vlogs. When I get to NaNoWriMo, I just finished up Camp NaNoWriMo. I had to kind of rush through it because I was going on vacation in a few days. But yeah, I would love to do like NaNoWriMo vlogs. There's some like cool writing gadgets I would love to cover. Writing software I think would be fun to talk about. I do a lot of technology instruction in my regular day job, so being able to bring that into the channel would be interesting because there's a lot of cool apps and tools and gadgets out there for writers, so it would be fun to cover some of that stuff. Let's see. When did you start writing? I started writing back in, well, first time I wrote, I guess, was in 5th grade. I had an assignment where we had to create a short story, and I was very excited about writing that short story. And I imagined this whole thing was about 2 kids that were spies. I wish I kept it. I don't even know where it went. It was about 2 kids that were spies, and I was so excited to hand it into my teacher. And when I handed it in, she said that I had written it in pencil, and she said that it wasn't appropriate to write an assignment in pencil. So she made me rewrite it again in pen. So I rewrote it in pen and handed it back to her, and she had wanted me to use, I think it was blue ink or something, and I used black ink, or vice versa, I don't remember, but she made me rewrite it again. I rewrote it again, and this time I used 2 different colors blues because my pen ran out in the middle of the paper, so she made me rewrite it again. These are the olden days when you had to write everything by hand. She made me rewrite it again. Then that time I think I ended up having to type it up and hand it in. But by the time I ended up going through all of that, it actually ended up kind of killing my love of writing for a while. So as a kid, and I was very excited about my story. And, you know, when you have to write the same thing 5 times, it doesn't really feed your enthusiasm. So I actually kind of ended up not really liking writing. I had a very poor view of writing from that until I got to about, I'd say, 7th grade. And at that point, I started writing fan fiction because I was really into video games. So I started writing fanfics about some of the games I liked. And I'd share it with my friends, and my friends were also writing, so we'd all like talk online stuff. And those stories were terrible, but I actually really loved them, and it got me into writing. And then when I was in high school, I started getting into writing some like original stories and original fiction, and it's stayed with me ever since. I remember I used to, actually, I don't think you can see it here, but on the top shelf here, I have like all of these notebooks that were the notebooks that I used to carry around in high school and I used to write in, because, you know, if your teachers caught you with like a phone or Game Boy or something, you know, in class, you'd get in trouble. But if you carried around a notebook and you wrote, you could goof off while looking very productive and studious. So that's my writing history. I've loved writing ever since then, and I continue to do it to this day. All right, I gotta rush through the last couple ones because I gotta go to work. What was the first story you ever wrote? Was that spy story? What authors have inspired your writing the most? Neil Gaiman, definitely. Love Neil Gaiman. I would say the most inspiring writer to me, though, is Diana Wynne Jones. I love her. I love Howl's Moving Castle. I love the Chronicles of Crestomancy. I love how her characters are so in these like fantastical situations, but they're so down to earth and just practical. And she just balances humor and heart so well. I love her writing. I was so devastated when she passed away. She actually did write a collection before she had passed about writing and her writing process and her, experience growing up and loving writing and eventually being a writer. It was like a collection of her different essays put together. And I think it was called Magic and the Reflection of Writing. Hold on, I'll get it for you, because it's that good and you should read it. It was Reflections on the Magic of Writing by Diana Wynne Jones. Definitely check it out. She was an amazing woman and had some really amazing insights into the writing process. Do you schedule your writing sessions or simply get to writing when you can find the time? Lately I've been scheduling them. I have a dog who has diabetes. He needs a shot, very specifically at 6:30 a.m. So because I wake up so early to give him the shot, I actually have a really like good amount of writing time in between then and work. So that's when I fit in my writing time. It's not very romantic or exciting, but I get it done then. Do you type on a computer, typewriter, write everything out by hand, or use a blend of those? And where do you write in general? I write wherever I can, mostly. As for what I write on, I really have loved Scrivener. That's been a game changer for me. And I use it on my Mac when I'm home. And then when I'm out, I just use it on my phone. I usually bring my iPad around with me too. Sometimes I'll write on there. And yeah, it just makes it super convenient because then I can be wherever, I could be at work. I can stop for lunch in between jobs. I can, just come home and be hanging out on the couch and I could still get some writing done. And it's almost all by computer. It's just easier because it just all goes into Scrivener and then just syncs up with each other. All right, and then the last question, what are you most looking forward to now that you're a part of Authortube? I'm looking forward to maybe like meeting some Authortubers. There's a lot of like cool people in the community, so I think it'd be fun to be able to engage with them and talk with them a little bit. Also just looking forward to learning more about my own writing process. My process is kind of something that it just always has been for me. I've never really questioned it that much. And since I started writing Authortube, that'd be interesting. Watching Authortube, I have been able to kind of like question, like, why do I do certain things? Is there a way I can improve this? Is there a certain tool maybe I'm not using that I could be? So I'm interested in seeing where that journey takes me. And I think it'll be an exciting adventure. All right, I do have to run, but thank you guys for watching and I'll see you next time. Bye.